Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. I'm Lucas and welcome back to another F1 Esports onboard POV video, and today we have the first race of Event 3 at Japan for round 10 of the season. And yeah, we just had the race results from last time out, and this is the Drivers' Championship heading into this race and the Constructors' Championship heading into this race as well. So yeah, as you can see, we have a 11-point gap to Thomas. I believe it's a 14-point gap to our teammate Barry, a 17-point gap to Freddie, and a 22-point gap to Jarno Opmeer. 5-way fight for the Drivers' Championship heading into the final 3 rounds, Event 4 of F1 Esports, and here we are at Japan to get it all underway. And yeah, the team's championship was looking pretty good. If we did a good result and outscored Red Bull this event, this race, we would become F1 Esports Constructors Championships for McLaren, which would be an immense feeling. So yeah, heading to the end of Sector 1 now though for the first time on our Q1 run, and it's not been a very aggressive lap so far. I mean, Japan was actually my strongest track of Event 4, at least based on sort of theoretical pace. I think maybe it was a little bit peaky in terms of like getting the absolute maximum out of the car was maybe a little bit too peaky in terms of like you've got to really hit the sweet spot on everything to extract it all. So, but again, that's maybe something with hindsight, but I think in terms of raw speed we were not lacking any in Japan. We were very, very quick Q in practice, but so far this run in Q1 has not been up to my own standard. It was quite a subpar lap heading into the final chicane, not quite utilising all of the entry curbs, which you sort of have to on the inside. And we go to the line now, DRS open, and it's only a 28.37, which puts us P11. So yeah, an absolute diabolical lap, to be honest, and yeah, not what I wanted on what was my strongest track of this event. You know, I was coming into this race with high expectations and, you know, wanting to fight for a good result. So yeah, not a great start. So heading into Sector 1 again, getting the car to slow down a little bit better this time, then heading into this S section nicely, chucking the car in as fast as possible, using a little bit of curb to rotate the car, holding 5th gear, keeping it nice and tight to that apex, swinging it left and 6th gear through the Dunlop, using all the road available, and as you can see we have gained an absolute huge amount of lap time heading now into Degner 1, where we take absolutely no risk, and Degner 2 the exact same, not pushing it to the absolute extremity, as you know, naturally we need to think about making sure the lap is valid. You know, the championship fight is well and truly on. You know, any mistake, any blunder, any error that I make that could cost me, if I go out in Q1 my championship could be over, I go out in Q2 my championship could be over. So the pressure was, you know, immense, but that wasn't really that's not something that really changes much massively in this regard, I guess, because we've been leading the championship from the first race, so nothing really changed in many ways. It was just the intensity obviously grew and grew, but it was just how you sort of grew to cope with it. But it was certainly not easy. So yeah, nice and safe into the lap now as we come towards the line, and we put it into P8, which should be good enough to head us through. Very, very safe run. I tried to in a second, so get us through, but yeah, it was a very interesting start to qualifying. So we go P9. So yeah, nice and safely through, and yeah, on to Q2 now. Unfortunately, we obviously used 2 sets of tyres in Q1, so yeah, we just needed to try and, you know, run a clean qualifying. We knew we had good pace. It was just about extracting it, and that seemed to be, I guess, the tricky part, was trying to really, you know, put it on the limit and extract the time. As I say, it felt quite really peaky. You had to be within this on this very fine edge where you'll gain a lot of performance, but just go over that edge and, you know, you'll all of a sudden start understeering, or you'll hit a curb the wrong way. It was quite tricky, but we knew if we put it together, as I've said probably a million times already in this video, so apologies if I'm repeating myself, that it was there. So we just had to get our heads down and get on with the job at hand. So yeah, this lap's been what it's been so far, heading into Spoon Curve now for our first run of Q2. You've been just past that 50 metre board, going down all the way to 5th, using all the road on the outside, getting the car tucked in relatively well, smoothly on the power, then trying to maximise that run to slingshot yourself all the way down to 130R, which is an easy flat out corner in the dry. Head towards the middle sector split, and it is an 11.476. What are we going to do in the final sector now? It's very easy to mess this braking zone up. Decent amount of curb usage there, not quite using every last little bit, struggling to get on the power. It wasn't a 100% clean final chicane. However, this was a very solid Q2 run, and as you can see, we are sitting pretty good, and we have managed to get into Q3 with one run, and this gives us 2 sets of tyres for Q3. So, you know, I don't know how we managed to do this. You know, we go in Q1, we have to use 2 sets, and then we jump into Q2, and we get straight into Q3. Like, we've done that a few times this season. It's, you know, it's just weird how things work out. You know, how it's almost backwards compared to like Q1 and 2. But anyway, crunch time now. It's time to put some good laps on the board. Sending it through sector 1 now, keeping it in nice and tight to the curb there, trying to save that distance through Dunlop now. Maximising the road, and what is the split going to be as we wind our way towards Degna 1? It's only a 9, if I'm reading it, a 995, which is really not a good sector 1. For some reason on this day, I was not able to extract my sort of best sector 1s. We don't hit the apex of the hairpin either. So yeah, sector 1 was not really coming together on this day compared to what it usually was. But again, sector 1 is so high commitment, and you've got to get every curb right and all these things, so it was not easy. Heading through Spoon now, using plenty of road, and yeah, getting a solid enough exit, but we weren't, let's say, we weren't making leaps and bounds. The lap wasn't, you know, exceedingly quick. We're doing an 11.37 split, which is, I mean, it's not the best. So heading into the final sector now, plenty of curb on that initial apex, more on the second, so decent curb usage. Getting on the power for the exit now, DRS open, and it is a 7.54, so yeah, not really that sensational. We're going to need more than this to extract a good lap now for qualifying. We need to improve by a few tenths to be in the fight, that's for sure. And yeah, this is an important lap now, our final run of Q3, which in an all-important race in this F1 Esports Championship fight. Heading into turn 1 again and diving on the brakes, keeping the car nice and tight to the apex, and you're gaining a bit of time, bit more curb, opening up the line a bit better for this S's section, and the S's has been quite good so far, nice and clean, but a touch wide on that initial entry, but then picking up the throttle nicely, getting the car to rotate, and we do improve significantly through there. Not quite as much as we would have liked for sure, but definitely not too bad. But through Degna 1 we completely missed the apex, and we're already immediately losing all that time again, albeit it looks maybe clean. That was slow. Degna 1 and 2 we did not get the curbs right, and then we missed this hairpin trying to push too hard to gain that time back, and now all of a sudden we're in a situation where we're barely gaining almost any lap time. So excruciatingly, you know, the lap time just keeps running away from us. We're having to like chase it back and back, and we're on the limit through Spoon. You cannot get closer to invalidating than that. That was really, really on it, but I have to at this point because we're barely improving. It's remarkable. So yeah, we need to make sure that we end out this lap strongly, coming into the final chicane for the last time in this qualifying session, braking at the 100 metre board, diving in on the apex curb, using a bit more, having to use a bit of curb in the exit. It's not been a great lap, unbelievably frustrating as we cross line for a 6.95, which is certainly nowhere near as good enough as we would have liked. And you know, we were bare minimum expecting to get a 0.5 in this session. To get nowhere near that was extremely disappointing in this qualifying. I felt really, really dejected by that, given how, you know, how the pace was feeling at this track in practice. It just didn't materialise on this lap, and yeah, I have to take the blame for that in many ways, because we just didn't drive especially a good enough middle sector. You know, those Degna 1 and 2 and the hairpin was the main areas of time loss. So painful, because I feel like on this we should have been, by the end, as Thomas Ronner goes P1, I feel like at bare minimum we should have been in P3 for this race. because
What a shame.
Yeah.
How quick we were here.
it was a hard one to swallow. But we start P6.
Didn't come together.
It's all to play for, and we've got a race ahead of us now. So let's get it underway. 5 red lights appearing on your screen now. Hard tyres on for this race start, and away we go. Getting an extremely good start. Pulling alongside Danny Beresme on the medium, but getting a lot of wheel spin on the second phase. Patrick Sipos picks up damage on the outside, so we send it up the inside and we secure a position off the start, which is, yeah, certainly a good way to start this race and get things underway. So, yeah, not a bad getaway. So now just filtering our way through through sector 1 now, trying to build ourselves into a rhythm. And yeah, Danny Beresne ahead of us on the medium tyre, and apart from Danny, everybody else is on the hard for the first stint, so it'll be a hard medium. As you can see, we nearly lose it there on the exit curve of Degna 1, or the entry curve of Degna 2, depends how you look at it. And yeah, into the hairpin, one of few overtaking zones on the Suzuka circuit. And yeah, it's now about just, you know, getting a move on. It's going to be about strategy in this race.
Because he wants to push probably.
Yeah, the way I see. So cutting on now through to the exit of Spoon, and yeah, a pretty solid first lap. Patrick Sipos, I believe, picking up damage to his front wing off of the line. So yeah, one position up for both myself and Barry. And yeah, going into this race, if we, as I mentioned, as Danny Beresne goes up the inside into the final chicane of Fredrik Rasmussen, one of our championship rivals, now directly ahead of us on circuit. And yeah, so Danny Beresne making use of that medium compound tyre to make his way up on the track position, doing the alternate strategy. He's got to be bold, got to make those moves early on. But yeah, as I said earlier, if we outscore Red Bull at all, we are Constructors Champions, and we will win the Team's Championship for McLaren. So as long as we kept it intelligent and smart, and as we were, it was looking good.
Yeah. Try and get close at this lap. Very nice keep it.
No, it's longer. Oh,
Yep.
longer.
If there is a pit, we're following him.
Are you absolutely sure I'll get held in sector 1, man?
Like, go for it, you know. Yeah, I'm doing it.
I'm only doing this if you're sure, guys. Like, I don't like the sound of it though. It doesn't seem like it'll work. I'm following our car in.
So now, you need to tell.
Alright, we overtook Lucas.
Okay, because he's going to box.
Do the opposite to Freddy.
The Freddy, yeah?
Yeah, opposite Freddy.
I'm going to get held up, guys.
That's fine, that's fine.
It's not fine.
And away we go, no problems, really smooth. McLaren will be no doubt very happy with that stop.
I told you, man.
So as you can hear there, my worst fears sort of came to light, and we came out directly behind Danny Beresne, who was on the hard tyres, which means his warm-up would be extremely slow, and we could get held up all the way through this sector. So it was critical for us to somehow pull off a miraculous overtake. Otherwise, we are in a really bad situation, given our two of our championship rivals were in front of us before we made our stop. So this was not good, and I was just pushing on now. This was a critical moment in my race, in my championship. I had to make a move. So we're going into this hairpin. Danny Beresne feints to the inside. We send it round the outside, off the hairpin in Suzuka. Use our grip advantage, get on the power, and that's it. Move done.
Come on, send it.
I know I'm sending it, man, but I told you.
So you can see I was clearly not happy at this point in the race, but you can see I am pushing like a madman. We know this is such an important lap. We know it can be pivotal to the result of this race, the result of this championship. Every single point counts. So we are blasting our battery all the way to the pit because we know we would have lost some time behind Danny Berezny in that first sector. We managed to pull off an amazing overtake, albeit with a grip advantage, but you know, the tyres were certainly not fairly up to temperature. And yeah, we just need to at least rejoin in the position we were in. You can see the cars rejoining the pits. By Berman, our teammate, comes out in front of us. So we go round the outside as he's on the inside on his cold medium, and that is us up back into where we were, but with 1 lap older tyres now. So that was extremely sketchy, that entire lap. It was one of the most important laps of this race. It could prove to be one of the most important laps of this entire championship to have made that move. If I didn't get that move done, we would have been not only behind Barry, but behind Berezny, and that could be championship over for all we know. So it is the critical moments like this that count. And now lap 14, getting closer to the behind Freddie Rasmussen now, with who's starting to fire up his mediums now, and Thomas Ronner staying out, but he'll probably keep the track position given the tyre warm up. So and also using energy. So yeah, it was a incredibly frantic couple of minutes that were I knew how important they were, so I was giving it everything to try and stay with these cars and make the moves when I had to. It was so important. So heading now towards the end of lap 14, and you can see I've used most of my battery now as well. So if with Freddie having a bit more battery than me, for all we know, he could have just pulled away from us entirely. So this was a hands-on race. We had to scramble for everything we were getting in this race to try and hold on. And you can see Thomas Ronner now rejoining ahead with super fresh tyres, and yeah, that'll prove crucial because it means that the car ahead of me has a lap fresher tyres and the car ahead of him has a lap fresher tyres. So yeah, we are going to have to try our very best to stay with it, to try and keep up with this pace, because we don't have the facilities for that. We don't have the tyres nor the energy at this point in the race. However, skipping on to lap 17, we have a bit of a situation unfolding. Jake Benham in the Mercedes is parking the bus. He is trying to help out one of our other championship rivals at this point, Jan Watmere, by backing us all up. Nicholas Longy, who started in the front row and did the medium hard strategy, is bolted off into the distance. You can see him just up the road now, and look at this, we are being held up completely by this by Jake trying to hold everyone up for Jarno, which is sort of team play that we somewhat expected at this point anyway for going into this sort of event. But
it's so dangerous right now.
yeah, I was taking zero, and I mean zero, risk to try and get this front wing broken before any overtaking opportunities. I didn't want to lose my front wing over something really stupid where I wasn't even trying to overtake. I needed to save the risk for when it mattered. So yeah, heading into this final chicane now. Jake Benham on the inside, Thomas Ronner looking at the inside. Does he get the move done? No, he doesn't, but I think he made contact with Jake Benham. He goes round the outside now. It's absolute madness, and now Jake Benham struggling for traction as he would on 17 lap old tyres. And now going down this main straight, Jake goes to the inside, Freddie goes for the outside. We go all the way up the inside, 3 wide into turn 1, and we actually managed to pull off that overtake on Jake Benham. This was another crucial move in this race that could prove crucial in this championship, because now we are ahead of Jake Benham, who is performing the best impression of parking the bus. I was going to try and make an expression of that, but it didn't work. But yeah, as you can see now, by trying to get past Jake Benham, but Jake just holding him up so much, and now they're 1.3 seconds behind. So it was so important to get that move done at the earliest opportunity. Now they're 2.1 seconds behind. So we were just... the overtakes had to be done then and there, and I knew that, and I had to go for it. It was... I knew the championship was in the balance. 2 of my rivals are in front of me right now in the form of Freddie Rasmussen and Thomas, and at this point in the race now, it was all about chasing after Nicholas Longy again, who built up that gap. But yeah, as you can see, the gaps are so spread out now because I didn't have battery for most of this stint. I was using it to stay in it, and now my tyres are destroyed now by this point. And yeah, it's the last lap of the race. I'm not going to be able to catch the cars ahead unless they fight and have a collision. So it's now just about bringing home a solid P4 in this race. And yeah, albeit I never managed to get as many points as I would have liked today or outscore the rivals that are in front of me. I did what I could in the race, and in qualifying we paid the price for, you know, an underwhelming Q3. But these things aside, this was still a monumental race because we are going to outscore Red Bull, and we are on track to becoming F1 Esports Constructors Championships champions for McLaren.
Where's Kiefer?
P8. No, more, P9.
So we're going to outscore them, right?
Yeah. The Peter's Peter.
Are you thinking about that one as well, Lucas?
What do you mean?
Are you thinking of that as well?
Well, let's just see out the final chicane, my friend.
Yeah, this is the last chicane, baby.
Might not be with what we wanted today.
Lucas Blakeley.
We are world champions!
We are world champion, man!
McLaren Shadow, F1 Esports champions!
Thanks to all of you.
So there we have it, folks. We won the F1 Esports Constructors Championship for McLaren, and yeah, you saw the results of the race there. The Drivers' Championship lead got slashed down quite a bit. We only have a 5-point lead now heading into the final 2 rounds, but as you can see, we cannot be caught. McLaren Shadow F1 Esports 2022 Teams Champions, and this was a huge, you know, reward for all the efforts, all the hard work, the time, the dedication, the highs, the lows, everybody's inputs, everyone's work, from the main drivers, the development drivers, the engineers, the strategists. It was just absolutely all the personnel involved. This was a huge result for the team, and it justified all the hard work that everyone had put in and everyone had invested in this season, and it meant the world for the whole team. And to see how happy it made everybody at McLaren as well was one of the most special things that we'll ever probably get to experience in our lives. So yeah, what an honour to win the championship for McLaren in the Constructors. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say, but that was yeah, an amazing feat for all the it just justifies all the effort that was put in all season. I don't really know what else to say. I feel like I'm going to start rambling now, but yeah, McLaren Shadow Champions. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for the support. And until next time, I will catch you guys in the next one. Take care. Love you all.